And give it up for Karen Reiner.
I'm the mother of 4 children, and as you probably know, you can become a mother in multiple ways. So the first 2 children, I kind of grew from scratch, DIY project. And they were 2 daughters, and I love them so much, I couldn't imagine loving anybody that much. And I would have had more children, except my marriage ended and the biological clock started to tick, and it looked like that window had closed for me. Until I met a man on a blind date through Match.com. And this is how I got 2 more children in an internet scam of buy 1 husband, get 2 free. So he was a Navy pilot, an F-18 pilot, a Top Gun kind of a guy. And he had full custody and full responsibility for his 2 children. A 10-year-old boy who was a happy little child, but was and is profoundly disabled, both cognitively and physically. And then he also had a little 7-year-old daughter who was into pink ponies and shiny things and a movie called Barbie Princess Charm School. It's not exactly the same genre as Top Gun, just in case you haven't seen it. And when I met this little girl, she was 7, but she had been without a mother for 2 years. And she was really struggling. Not only had she lost her mother, but being a child of a military person, she had moved a lot, so she had lost friends over and over again. And she was really suffering from a lot of anxiety. And I think, as someone else said earlier, I did get her permission to tell you this story. I want you to know that. So she was a little girl, biting her nails, pulling her hair out to the point that she created a bald spot about 5 inches around. And kids in school were teasing her and bullying her. And then she developed an eating disorder at 7. And she's living with this dad with this demanding career and a special needs child who loved her deeply, but whose love language really was punctual bedtime and fixing things that are broken. And he didn't know how to fix her. And as I was dating him, I could tell she didn't need to be loved harder. She needed to be loved softer. So we started our own little rituals. We did things like making paper valentines out of doilies and having tea parties and reading bedtime stories where she would cuddle up to me like a kitten. And she slowly started to relax a little bit. I remember the day that I crouched down to her level and I showed her the shiny ring on my left hand, and I explained to her what it meant to be engaged. She likes sparkly things, so she looked at the ring a lot. But then there was a little light bulb that went off over her head, and she looked up at my eyes and she said, "Does this mean you're going to become my new mommy?" When I said yes, that little girl hurled herself at me with so much force she knocked me over. And we laid on the floor in the kitchen, giggling and hugging. And I told her, "You can keep calling me Karen if you want, but you could also call me Mommy or Mama, whatever feels right for you." And then she went strangely silent for about 3 or 4 days. She was very cautious, she couldn't believe if she called me Mommy that I would respond, that maybe I couldn't love her as much as I loved the 2 children that I gave birth to. So I was driving in the car one day and I heard this teeny tiny voice from the pink booster seat in the back. And the teeny voice said, "Mama?" And I said, "Yes, honey." And her smile broke out ear to ear. I could see it in the rearview window. And this was the moment. This was the moment she realized that she belonged to me and that I belonged to her. And the day of our wedding, she walked down the aisle with her 2 new big sisters, wearing a pink dress as a flower girl that made her look like a real-life Barbie princess. And then when the minister declared us husband and wife, she threw her arms in the air in Olympian victory dance right up there on the altar. And my older daughters and I, we used to take her out for girly things, and we'd leave her dad at home with our son, and we would just try to make her feel like she was part of the family. And she was always trying to round up to be like the older kids, and she would say funny things. Like one time we saw these wild chickens accepting snacks from tourists in a parking lot, and she said, "Look, these chickens are creating a sensation of trust." We use that line a lot, even when we drive past a KFC now. But in reality, I think about this when I was putting the story together, and I thought, a sensation of trust, that is what she needed more than anything. She needed to know that she was going to be surrounded by people who loved her and would continue to show up for her day after day after day. And for 15 years, she's been sending me Mother's Day cards that talk about how lucky she is that she got me as a mother. And what I have to tell you is that I'm the lucky one. She didn't think I could love her as much as the daughters who grew in my belly under my beating heart. But it doesn't matter that we don't share the same DNA, because I have a secret to let you in on. When a mother lets children into her life, her love doesn't get divided, it gets multiplied. And if you were to ask her today, she's now 21 years old, she's a college senior, she's a fierce lacrosse player, she's surrounded by friends who show up for her every day. If you were to ask her today, where do you get your sense of confidence? Where do you get your courage? Where do you get your own personal sensation of trust? I hope with my whole heart that she would tell you, I got it from my mama. Thank you.
Incredible, Karen.